January 10th, the Niagara Falls Convention Center. Wayne Turnbull is horns first into the foam. Also failing to qualify is super modified star Joe Gosick. 36 Can-Am three-quarter midgets are in the hall. The feature is 50 laps. Jim Johnstone, number 21, leads, but is caught behind a lap car. Joe Payne, number 04, makes the high groove work, passing both Keith Dempster and leader Johnstone, plus the lap car, in one impressive swoop. But as the race progresses, setups change. Johnstone's for the better. Fantastic racing with 5 laps to go. Our winner, Jim Johnstone Jr., is from Ontario. February 4th, 1998, the All-Stars sanctioned Winter Nationals at Volusia County. Ohio's Frankie Kerr began his sprint car career nearly 20 years ago in central PA. The same heat is restarted, and now Western PA's Brian Ellenberger gets into even bigger trouble.
Turn number 2 is going to lose 1 position, and moving into the 2nd position, Lasowski.
Our own Lance DeWeese leads 17 of the 20-lap feature. As Lance hesitates behind a lap car, Missouri's Danny Lazowski puts Chris Black's number 1 in front. Danny would go on to win 3 of the 4-race Volusia Series, with Kenny Jacobs taking the finale. Danny's known as the Duke and is a many-time Knoxville point champion. February 11th, East Bay, where the Pennsylvania Posse will control the 3-night series. Somebody's in the wall. It's Wild Bill Bryant, as comforted by Billy Pouch. The inside berm trips Florida's Sport Allen. The feature is a race-long duel between front row starters Billy Pouch in the Zemco 1 and Jeff Shepard, number 4.
Shepard on the outside.
Frenchtown, New Jersey's Billy the Kid was credited with leading all 30 laps, but he never got a break from the relentless Shepard, as the pair spent most of the race in lap traffic.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Here's the winner, along with East Bay promoter Will Kegel, who was known as the Tampa Terror during his career as a Northeast dirt modified driver. February 12th, 57 sprinters makes for tough qualifying. Ageless low buck racer from Indiana, Johnny Johnson, runs into trouble in his blue 72. Feature time. Fred Raymer, 77, grabs first over fellow Pennsylvania Possiers Todd Schaefer, 88, and Jeff Shepard. Lap 7, Raymer and Schaefer go side by side for the lead. But watch the Walt Dyer Masonry 461 of Monalto's Lance DeWeese. Nobody does it better. Sir Lance's leading of a top 4 Central PA sweep was quite an accomplishment. Listen to the interview.
Before you take all your photos, guys, let me get here real quickly and I'll clear back out of here. Lance DeWeese, congratulations. An impossible feat tonight. A new track record, winning the C feature, the B feature, and the A, the first time it's ever been done. Your 3rd big win here at East Bay Raceway. Is the track condition different for you tonight?
I think it's about the same as it was last night. We were pretty good last night. We had the misfortune of getting a flat tire there, but running the C and the B really helped me tonight because I got a little bit more track time, and we made a couple little changes, made a couple little changes to the car, and it really was working nice once the fuel load got off it.
February 14th, the East Bay finale. PA racers continue to hog the screen as Shawn Michael takes a bite out of the boards. The Les Stewart number 4, as piloted by Upper Co Maryland's Jeff Shepard, sweeps past the 00 of Jim Neer into the lead and on his way to the 50-lap $10,000 win. Back in PA, Motorama charity fundraising proves the most beautiful women in the world are the all-American girls you find hanging out at your local racetrack. Winner 16-year-old Jamie was soon disqualified for being 2 years under the limit. 3rd place finisher Bobby sells hot dogs in the pits every Saturday night at Lincoln. Michelle races micro sprints at Clyde Martin. We tried to focus in on Michelle's heavy right foot, but the camera just didn't seem to make it all the way down. Our winner is Audrey, who we first saw handing out trophies at Trailway. Now you know the real reason we like hanging out at micro tracks. Oh yes, there's racing too. With 2 cars left on the track and 1 to qualify, Brent Boyer gives it his all. Motorama is the first of the 4 wingless shows on the circuit this year. Brian Buckwalter Jr. will also miss the feature. Not hard to do with 57 micros in the hall and only 15 starting spots. Hanover's Sean Seifert in his Shack Automotive number 1T leads Randy West and Joe Trone Jr. across the Motorama 20 finish here in the Harrisburg Farm Show Arena. Joey Allen might be telling photographer Steve Kolatar to stand in turn 4. Lincoln's opener, February 21st. Lobster Pam calls it racing's Groundhog Day. Heavy damage put the Allen team back out of business for some time. The large opening day field of 33 already has thrown caution to the wind. Kevin Gobrecht got a second chance. Dan Dietrich and Len Thompson begin a Maalox moment, which actually flipped 3 cars, including Danny Jones and Fred Raymer. Millerstown's Todd Schaefer leads every lap in the Beam-owned Turnbull Oil Village Square Plaza 88.
Well, I'll tell you something. These shows with this many good drivers on hand, you feel good when you win these.
Yeah, Lance and Freddie and I were standing there after the heats, and we said the draw was going to mean a lot because the first 15 cars are all feature winners from last year, and we were lucky enough to draw good, and I hope we can do it again next week.
February 22nd, Central PA's Hagerstown, Maryland Speedway. It's Sinking Springs' Donnie Kreitz' turn to wire the feature field in his own Kreitz Speed Shop, Kreitzer Excavating, number 69.
We pulled in here today. I just couldn't believe this track. Randy just prepares the best track in the country. You know, this thing's as smooth as a pool table. You know, with racing in February and everything, and the ground's pretty soft underneath. I don't know how he does it, but he does a good job.
Yeah, early in the week it was like mud and water and a total mess. They even got the pit area looking pretty darn good too.
Yeah, they even stoned that for us. They really take good care of us down here. I wish we could run here more often.
February 28th, Lincoln. Billy Sims is a several-year veteran of the circuit. Billy's had better days, including a feature win at Selinsgrove. Always first to any first-turn crash to lend comfort or aid is Jenny Earhart. Billy's okay, but Ohio's Kenny Jacobs suffered a cracked vertebrae and would be out of action for several weeks. Hershey's Scott Gessford will walk away after visiting Lincoln Cement. We're told Scott holds down 2 full-time jobs to support his sprint car habit. Darren Aish in the white number 7 leads early in the feature. Now Billy Pouch turns over in a tangle with Dan Dietrich, and we have another red flag. 31-year-old defending URC champ Shawn Michael from Allentown, driving the Harz Furniture C&B Mushrooms 88, plays the starring role in Central PA's first feature pass for the lead. The flying fireman and father of one survives a last lap route by second-place finisher Jeff Shepard.
Well, for you, it's a big step, we know, into these 410s. We knew you had the talent for it. Not only winning a race this early on in your sprint car career, but beating the guys you beat today, that's going to be something special.
Oh, I'll tell you, this is great. I never, ever thought it would come this soon, but it's my equipment. I tell you, there's a lot of drivers here that can get in this car and can win with this car with the equipment I have, and they will never get the chance because they're unfortunate enough, like me. I guess I lucked into the deal. And I tell you, I just can't thank my owners.
Yeah, little tap with that 4J car right near the end.
Yeah, the lap cars, they were running me around, and I thought we were getting through them quick, but I guess not quick enough.
March 1st, the Williams Grove opener. 26-year-old Jeff Shepard leads the feature, but defending champ Fred Raymer in the Al Hamilton Cindy Rowe Mannheim Auto Auction 77 is changing things. Off of turn 4, and Jeff's front bumper again is about 6 inches too long. Raymer is never really able to lose Shepard, and on the 21st lap, Fast Freddy from Salfordville gets a white wall on his way to $3,000.
Fred, there were a couple moves I think everybody was watching. Number one, the pass over there in turn number 3, you made a move on the inside, and then things got pretty close here on the front stretch. I'm sure that got your attention.
Yeah, Jeff had a good run on coming off a 4 there when I had passed him. I guess one time we come up and he got me turned into the fence. You know, just he was trying to get around me, no big deal. And it could have got ugly, but I was able to get the handle, and he must have just let me live there. You know, must have rolled out a little bit. But very fortunate, proud as hell to win. You know, we've been struggling here a little bit. But our struggling is still, you know, we're still finishing decent, but we can be really good this year. But it's going to be tough. Lincoln on a Saturday night is going to be the toughest track, and I still plan on winning the most races there if I can, so we'll see what happens.
What about here at Williams Grove? What about another track championship?
I tell you what, the most important thing to me is next week's race. If we can win that one, I'll be happy, and if it just keeps going like that. The championship was great to win, but at this time of year, that points deal last year, it wrecked my whole year because it's just no fun when you're leading the points and you can't race like you should. I'd rather just race week to week and hell with the points.
March 7th, Lincoln. Steve Siegel in the Scarpita Racing 59 started on the pole, but Todd Schaefer appears to be in the process of an elongated pass for the lead. Unfortunately for Todd, a yellow flag is going to make him have to do it all over again. It never happens, and 47-year-old veteran Siegel from nearby New Oxford has his 27th career Lincoln win. It's worth $2,500. Here he talks about Schaefer's bad break in Victory Lane.
Yeah, he definitely had me, you know, and then I thought, you know, that's it, you know, with the caution come out and put us back up there. There's no doubt he found the groove a lot faster than I did, but then he kind of showed it to me, and so after that, I just kind of probably got in his way, but I went up there and did the best I could. Oh, yeah, it's always tough here. You know, every week you come here, it's like that, you know, and I mean, it's just good racing. It's got to be good for the fans. It's definitely a workout for me. Starting on the front row definitely helps. I mean, but that's the luck of the draw. I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, next week it's points, and I'm sure I won't be there.
March 14th, still at Lincoln. Nobody has thrilled more fans in the last 20 years than the motorcycle mechanic from Biglerville, Dan Dietrich. Not a good day for the many-time winner who once came from last to first on a daylight surface at Williams Grove. Young Brian Paulus from Mechanicsburg calls racing his career. Brian has a full year with the Outlaws under his belt already and a Williams Grove feature win. Brian will be back in action at the Grove tomorrow. If Jenny gets any faster, we'll need to put a wing on her. Chris Aish in the Miller Brothers Chevrolet E&G Classic 17E started 6th, but slips past Danny Jones into the lead on the first lap. 32-year-old Chris, now from nearby Hanover, would go on to survive some late race heat supplied by Billy Pouch.
Billy Pouch was giving you fits. He was trying in the second turn every lap, and a couple of times it got close.
Well, yeah, you know, I could see him, and I was saying, boy, I hope he don't slide a couple feet further. He might take us both out. But, you know, Billy's a real good racer, and, you know, he didn't do anything dirty to me. He drove me clean.
March 15th, Williams Grove. Todd Schaefer, 88, takes the lead with contact from Billy Pouch. Jeff Shepard, 3rd. As Schaefer continues to lead, Shepard, number 4J, takes 2nd in a very similar bump and run, although this time Pouchy slips up into the marbles. During a red flag for a tangle that flipped Tim Schaefer, Pouchy compliments Shepard on his move into 2nd.
Lining up 7th, the 58S, Sean Reimert.
Lap 14, 2 racing hardheads. Jeff slips under Todd cleanly and convincingly, giving his car owners, Linda and Les Stewart, a nice 34th wedding anniversary present. Jeff talks about the weather with Bruce Ellis.
The wind's real bad, you know, you almost got to get your car set up where you can be loose enough where the wind doesn't kill you. And then, like, right before I got in the car, idling around under the yellow flag laps, the wind tends to make you a little cold.
Jeff, a great move to get 2nd and also to get the lead. You were on the hammer all the way around today.
Yeah, our car was going good. I got into Billy up there, you know, it wasn't intentional by any means, and so I got in him getting into turn 1. There was a lap car there, and I thought maybe I cleared him, but apparently I didn't. So, you know, I don't want him or anybody else to think that I'm a dirty driver, but, you know, our car was going good, and I got by Todd and lap traffic and stuff, and when the car's working good and you're on your game, everything makes it a lot easier for you.
March 28th, the Port Royal Opener. Dave Hahn from Green Lane near Allentown has racing roots in the Modifies. Dave was less than pleased with Billy Pouch after this incident, flipping in his new rod on the start of a heat race. Lucklessly, Ports, in order to avoid the normal 20-degree March nighttime temperatures, scheduled in the afternoon and got 85-degree winds. Fred Raymer, 77, took the lead from Donnie Kreitz, 69, among the dust storms for his third win in his last 3 appearances here. A quick run down Route 15 to Lincoln. Jesse Wentz is a veteran of over 15 years. The Manchester Marylander has wins at Williams Grove, Susquehanna, and Lincoln, although luck has never seemed generous to as many deuce-numbered racers. Visiting from Chillicothe, Ohio, Mark Imler is also wrong side up, and the second view shows a hard hit for Mark. Both drivers are okay, as will be Danny Jones. 34 410 sprinters are in the pits. The feature story. Fast Freddie takes himself out early, and Broadbeck's Todd Gracie in the Cooper Ford Motors number 25 leads 24 of the 25 laps for his first win in over a year.
He's got some fans down front tonight. What a run!
Yeah, it was a lot of fun out there.
How about them Fords?
Well, this one here is a little down the horsepower what my other one is. We'll have my better motor back next week, so we'll see that in lunch.
Down on horsepower. It didn't look like it to me. It looked pretty fast out there tonight.
Well, we got the car figured out. We struggled there the first couple of weeks, but now we got a little thing going here, so we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens as the 358 cubic inch sprinters make their first start of the year at Lincoln. Just when you think it's safe, that's Bob Nace rolling over. Becca Anderson has nowhere to go. Mannheim's Mike Lehman set a new track record in his heats, and then with points handicapping not yet in effect, started third in the feature, leading every lap in the Bill Henderson number 59. April 3rd, Williams Grove. Beavertown's Barry Camp's been racing, smoking, and drinking dirt track coffee for over 35 years. A bad start will keep Campy out of tonight's feature. Todd Schaefer will return to qualify this same car. Lined up by time trials, by the third lap, the Early Bird Championship was spread around the track like a warm-up session. Lance DeWeese started on the pole, but a deflating tire helps Fred Raymer, 77, take the lead away. Raymer led until lap 20 when New Oxford's Stevie Smith celebrates his homecoming with a winning move that made it look so easy that most of us agree he could have led every lap from his third starting spot if he had wanted to.
Stevie, what brought you back anyway this week?
Well, this is the way I think it should be ran every week, or we'd probably be here every week. 5,000 to win, time trials. That's what it needs. That's what this racing's all about. So that's why we're driving across the country.
What do the fans think about that? Would you like to see more of these single shows with 5,000 to win? Ooh, maybe you started something here.
Well, I think the time trial is the only fair method. It's the fairest. I mean, that's the World of Outlaws are the most successful organization. That's the way they do it. So, you know, that's why we're traveling all over the country.
We love our Stevie, but we'd translate his interview this way. Don't make us fast guys start in the middle. All that passing is too much work, and it's demeaning. Our high-dollar sponsors want to see their cars up front the whole race. We sentenced Stevie to 3 hours of Friday Night Madness Bubba Derbies. April 4th, Len Thompson's led many features, but is still looking for that elusive first sprint car win. Here's Len's number 10 taking first position from Cliff Bryan on the Port Royal front stretch. Clayton and Len led the feature until the 5th lap when this happened. Lance DeWeese came from 10th starting spot to take the lead from Todd Schaefer, becoming the 4th and final leader today at Port Royal. Down the road to Silver Spring, High Groove specialist Terry Leininger, number 1, is in a life-or-death duel for the final qualifying spot as Silver Spring's annual Frozen Spring Night is in gear. Terry had him beat. Last year's champ, Mechanicsburg's Howie Locke in the Bittner Motorsports Dellinger's Auto Body number 12 leads the pack home as we move into the warmth of the press box.
I'd really like to be here several more times, but the competition is really good. All these guys are trying really hard. You got Pat Cannon and Carmen. A bunch of guys are racing really hard, and I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a summer.
When it gets warm, right. Congratulations, Howie.
Thanks a lot.
April 5th, Trailway. Jimmy Young from Johnstown leads the micro feature over A.J. Ernesto. A hard spill in turn 3. The restart. Ernesto has dropped out, and now contact behind the leader helps Jimmy find his way to his first Trailway win. April 10th, the Super Sportsmen are at Williams Grove. Still the most competitive class. You can't start the fastest cars in front or in the back because there is no faster cars. Therefore, points handicapping serves to rotate different drivers to the front. Tonight, Steve Wilbur, driving the Wise Motorsports W100 Radio 59, holds off both Jim Shuttlesworth, 25, and Frankie Herr in the final lap.
Victory lane at Williams Grove, how does it feel?
Oh, it's great. No better place to win than here. I dreamed about it, you know, for a long time, and finally got to do it.
Well, Steve, your car owner told me at the start of the evening, my man's going to win tonight. He was right.
Yeah, sometimes he goes out on a limb like that. Gets me in a lot of trouble most of the time.
April 11th, Port Royal. Effortless Cliff Bryan, driving the Bryan's Excavating number 16, is on his way to his third career feature win.
Boy, I'll tell you, this is the one you've been waiting to get down here at the port.
I've been waiting for 2 years. This makes it worth it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cliff, you drove the wheels off of this thing tonight. I don't know what goes through your mind when you got a Todd Schaefer or a Craig Eschenauer behind you like that.
I don't know. I just kept focused and try to run the best I can. And if they're going to get me, they're going to get me, you know? Yeah. It's great.
Tell you what, we were watching a lot of TV. You went in there and took them victory lap donuts.
That's what it's all about.
I'll tell you what, you got a proud dad running around here somewhere. Did he come with you this evening?
Them donuts were for my pop. He said, if you win tonight, you go in there, you find the nicest grass you can find, and just tear it all to hell. And that's what we did.
Chad Layton is an impressive rookie in the Cars Sprints, who opened their season tonight at Port Royal. Cars lived up to its name with a field of 39. Chad missed qualifying by one position in the Consi, and then things got worse as he dumps the number 5L a half lap after the checker. On the 8th lap, Mike Lehman, number 59, takes the lead from Mark Richard, number 50, down the back chute. But just after the pass for the lead, fourth place runner Jeff Wary crashes hard, bringing out the red. Mike Enders is also involved. Everyone is okay. Mark Richard would have restarted as the leader, but officials put him to the rear for having one too many crewmen on the track. Mark pulled into the pits. The restart and another crash, this time at Steve Buckwalter and Brian Eichelberger. Again, the drivers fared better than the cars. With Richard gone, Lehman in the Green Lane Greenhouse Mid-Atlantic Auto Sales 59 is alone in front, picking up the Keystone Auto Racing on Speedway's win.
I'll tell you what, after the season you had last year, I know you'd like to duplicate that, and what a way to start it off.
Yeah, Bill told me before I went out, he's like, you either win this or bring it back in a ball, you know, and you're fired, too, if you do that. So I had a little pressure on me. No, Bill's pretty good, you know. He's, I can't ask for a better car owner. And my dad, he asked me what I wanted to do. I said, I don't know. He's like, I said, just set it up to run through the middle, and that's what we ended up doing. It was running pretty good, you know. The longer the race went, like the faster we got, except the last 2 or 3 laps there, we started to hang a little bit. I think that was more driver than race car, though.
Second, Tim Schaefer up to third. Danny Jones out of shape. And
Lincoln, Dave Haight will return to qualify.
And he ends up upside now.
Lonnie Ryan is another flip victim.
Lonnie Ryan, and the red flag will come out.
On the 4th lap of the April 18th feature, the number 2 of Jesse Wentz slips underneath the 32 of Brooke Lively and is our new leader. Several laps later, Wentz continues the lead over the 92 of Kevin Gobrecht. But here comes Fast Freddy from 11th starting spot, who intends to change everything. He does, but not quite as expected. The restart. Gobrecht continues to lead as Tim Schaefer thrills the Lincoln crowd by dropping Raymer to third.
Schaefer up on the cushion. Now Raymer reclaims the second spot. 3 cars race for the lead. Raymer after Gobrecht. Tim Schaefer back into second.
Schaefer in the 12 and Raymer 77 swapped second position a couple of times. Coming around for the white flag, Raymer has regained second and takes first with a lap and a quarter to go, but it's not Freddie's most popular win.
Yeah, the first thing I have to do is I totally put it on Jesse Wentz. It wasn't something I tried. He paid the price, and I'm very sorry for that. I was just running hard and trying to get it done. I knew if Kevin got up front, it was going to be tough, but hey, I did what I get paid to do, and I feel bad for Jesse. It wasn't intentional, but that's the way it ended up.
The ARDC Midgets add to the show tonight at Lincoln. Fred Schell gets helped into a spill. Brian Kobelar's 49 and the white 22 of Johnny Heidenreich were the third and fourth feature leaders respectively before exchanging the lead among themselves 3 times.
Kobelar's hanging on to the top spot. Lap traffic now, and Kobelar's.
Heidenreich eventually won the war, and thanks to the IRL, for the first time in 20 years, we have a winner standing on the straightaway of a Central PA track aspiring to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I moved out to Indy to try to get a shot, and last year things were going real well. I hooked up with Clabber Girl team with Tony George as the sponsor, and things looked real good. I thought I had a shot at having an IRL test, and we broke our shoulder, and then we had some dizzy problems at Eldora, and so that's why I'm back. I'm just trying to get back on my feet and get some laps on.
April 24th, 50 358 sprinters invade Williams Grove. With over half the field doomed to DNQ status, action shots come easy. Bill Fantasy meets Billy Johns. Tom Leach jumps the rail, crashing hard without injury. Mike Lehman continues to dominate this division. Mike started third tonight, taking first from a bobbling Dale Hammaker on the second lap. Points handicapping kicks in next time and should make for a more interesting show. Lehman has won all 4 of the 358 features conducted on the circuit so far this season. Jess Thomas was Port Royal's 1994 Rookie of the Year at the age of 46. Tonight, the popular lumberjack clips a sliding Mark Coldren before performing a complete rollover. Dave Haight has the Tanger 07 leading the feature over the Apple Chevrolet 12 of Tim Schaefer and Kevin Gobrecht in his own 92. Schaefer bumps the fence but gets assisted by Gobrecht, who in turn really loses out. The halfway mark and a blown engine for luckless leader Haight. Soon after the restart, Schaefer and Donnie Kreitz begin to swap the lead position. On the 19th lap, Kreitz regains control for keeps. The Darrell Goon Memorial is worth $3,700 to the 4-time track champ, and it's Donnie's 38th career Grove feature win, tying him with Kenny Weld. April 25th, Landisburg's Mark Richard leads a wild 358 feature event as third place Bob Hagen decides he'd rather party with the Thundercar drivers in the pits. With Lehman getting involved in the Hagen crash, Mark, driving the Deal Toyota number 50, still has plenty of company. Here Mark's holding off Greg Libby, 77, Jeremy Trout, 3, and Terry Leininger, 88. It's Mark's first win with his new team, and it won't be his last.
It's a lot of fun whenever you got, like Greg and Jeremy and them guys there at the front. It's been nice if Mike would have been there yet to join with us the way he's been so dominant. I wanted to beat him fair and square, not having him having to go to the rear, but hey, we'll take a win any way we can get it.
May 2nd, New Egypt, New Jersey. A rundown paved quarter mile has been rebuilt into a state-of-the-art dirt track. Street stock driver Mike Rudolph is okay. The United Racing Club makes its first Thunder in the Pines appearance. Spider Thomas and Rick Koenig both tasted the dark-colored low-dust surface. That's the red-colored number 63 of Greg Coverdale on the outside of the lap traffic on his way to Victory Circle. Greg is from Milford, Delaware, and has bested a field of 31 in his Fairless Hills Mobile-sponsored car. Racing our view is Miss URC, Jennifer Weaver. Meanwhile, over at Lincoln, even with rain on the way, the All-Stars mandate the high time consumption to low entertainment value time trials. We don't know if Kenny Jacobs was using one of the new lightweight time trial wing setups. The All-Stars do promote passing with a feature inversion, but the rain started on the parade lap, disappointing us all. We declare the Chris H team the winner for being the first out of the joint without greater assistance. May 3rd, the Cars Sprint Scramble as part of Thunder on the Hill 98 Part 1. 45 358ers make their first appearance on the Grandview Bull Ring. After 3 non-stop 12-car heats, this pair of incidents alone marred qualifying. That's Mike Hagenbottom getting clobbered by Brian Eichelberger. The marriage counselor says our caveman is running loose. The first lap leaves Tim Higgins and Dave Gable upside down, with Gary Gullib on top and Dale Hammaker buried alive. Jimmy Stitzel, number 12, and Kevin Drury both pass pole sitter Dan Ritzcreek and duel for the lead as the feature goes non-stop following the complete restart. Stitzel won the battle with Drury, but will lose this one with Mark Richard, who has advanced from his 8th starting spot. It will be Mark's 6th career Cars win tonight, driving the Mike Gerdes own number 50. Always full of himself and in the high groove is popular Sean Keane. With a win in last year's rookie season, here comes Sean now. Although the long time trial delay pushed the racing back much too late for a Sunday night, the All-Stars put on a hell of a good feature as this sanctioned body is taking over the Grandview Thunder Series. The 35 laps go non-stop, delighting the crowd. Jeff Shepard, 4, takes first from Johnny Mackison, but Lance DeWeese came from deep in the pack to surprise Shepard with just a few laps to go. DeWeese went on to hold off a last lap challenge by Fred Raymer for his 10th career All-Star win, which is worth $5,000. May 14th, Billy Schofstall and 37 other super sportsmen make their annual Thursday night Port Royal appearance. During a heat race, Rich Eichelberger drives up on Billy's tire, but it's Schofstall's number 07 that picks up frequent flyer miles. In a tight race for the Tour point lead, Howie Locke suffers a setback as a bent rear trailers the number 12. Overdue for his first feature win, Matt Ondeck, number 2, is on gas and in front until lap 8. Hamburg's Keith Krutzman, number 28, will talk to Kirk Wise after his 2nd career Port Royal win.
That was a nice ride for you. You took over there on about, I guess, about the 6th lap, and then you just had lots of fun.
Yeah, the track was to my liking. It just was smooth and free sailing.
For some in the short field of 18 sprints, the sailing was not so smooth. Glenn Thompson finds a troublesome first turn rut during a heat.
Green flag waving.
And Sean Keane will be tripped by the fly paper sticky cushion on the start of the feature.
Sean Keane, trouble down the front stretch. The 53 of Sean Keane rolls it over. Steimling leads it, but Lance is on his tail.
The 30 of Darrell Steimling leads the first 3 laps, but here comes Lance DeWeese. Sadly, the first turn hold took the shine off a spectacular show. Craig Eschenauer compliments the surface. On the restart, Todd Schaefer meets a similar fate. Todd punched the hood of the 88 during his very brief power nap. Rawhide Todd had to be coaxed into the ambulance and will win the feature here 2 nights later. 40-year-old Fred Raymer continues his win streaks. The only way he was going to pass DeWeese was with a perfect move on a restart, and the 3rd and final one was the charm. Fred's getting good at interviews, too.
See ya, Freddie.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, though. You know, we got some breaks, and Todd, I hope he's okay, because with him out of the race, I could try more things. I didn't have to worry about getting past as much, and hopefully he's okay. Hey, the track was rough, but we've had 12 straight days of rain. I mean, I can't see that it could be any other way. They graded it after that red there, and it was fast. I'll tell you, it's faster than I want to go. I'll tell you, I'm a little disappointed in the people we race with. You know, I know I'm lucky to be driving for Al, but there's a lot of guys, none of us have raced for a while, and they hold a nice show like tonight, beautiful day, and the guys don't show up. It just makes you wonder how bad they want to race.
May 15th, Williams Grove. Dave Courtier Jr. fulfills his dream of crashing in the highlight tape as 36 410 sprints are joined by a record 57 358s. Rick Kaler tangles with Dave Haight, with Haight going over. It took Raymer 17 laps tonight to come from his 12th starting spot to take first position from the 25 of Todd Gracie, who will hold on to 2nd. Rich Eichelberger likes to race often, and so parks both a Sportsman and a 358 Sprinter in his garage. Wings are a safety feature, but not when they fall apart. Rich Eichelberger is okay. With 33 cars doomed to DNQ status, qualifying is almost a win in itself. Matt Slawinski makes history as first to clear the new 3-tier rail in turns 3 and 4. Feature time. As Bob Hagan leads the first lap, the race for second becomes Marmalade. Rick Kaler, who races in both sprint divisions, taps Jimmy Burns, with Rick rolling, and a great save by Becca Anderson. Micro-graduate and 97 season heavy crasher Doug Esch has gotten his act together, coming from his 6th starting spot to sweep past both Anderson and Hagan. Doug is from Temple, and it's his first career sprint car win, offering us another of those definitely not rehearsed and polished victory lane interviews.
But most important is my crew. These guys are awesome. I mean, last year we were junking equipment, wrecking into people. People hated us. No one liked us. And sponsors came back. I don't know why, but they did. I gotta take my hats off to. I don't have a hat on, but gotta take my hats off to Diversified Machine. The guy bought me the car. He's a hell of a car owner. Egg and Signs, letter in the car. We got Diversified Racing's a division of Diversified Machine. Donut Motors, I tell you what, that son of a bitch is stout. I mean, we started getting that motor going, and I got my wife on the phone. Hi, hon. Are you pissed? All right.
May 16th. 55 Sportsmen at Silver Spring make for a total of 148 completely different full-size open-wheelers we've watched race here in Mechanicsburg during the past 24 hours. Dan Williams, 26, leads the feature over Pat Cannon in the Walt Biglerone Castles Home Center number 93 and Carmen Perigo in the Yellow Deuce. Cannon leads, and now Perigo takes second. Jim Shuttlesworth recently made history by winning both the late model and Sportsman feature on the same night here. Tonight, he's demoted to spin victim. On the restart, Perigo's pursuit carries him to the wall. And Tewksbury, New Jerseyite Pat Cannon talks to Steve after his second career win.
Boy, we had thunder and lightning up in the sky and a little bit of that down on the track. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks a lot. This is great. We've been struggling all year, just catching bad breaks one after another. This week, my mom found the 4-leaf clover. She said put it in her car, and luck came true. It was great.
Hey, it seemed to work. I'll tell you what, you had a tough competitor right behind you. That Ford was not about to let you get too far away.
Oh, I know he was right behind me, and I was kind of buzzing him down in 2, and I was just hoping that he would not get a run on me. But he ran me clean. I'm glad for it, and so glad to win.
May 17th, Selinsgrove. The 88, Todd Schaefer, takes first from Billy Pouch. Chris Ace was okay despite some missing roll cage after clearing the rail in a tangle with Jim Campbell. An appreciative Fred Raymer, 77, takes the lead with 3 laps to go for his 4th win of the weekend.
We've been getting phone calls asking us to come out, getting treated really well. Anybody with any kind of eyes can see that the promotion here, the people promoting this deal, definitely are trying hard.
And speaking of trying hard, here comes the Outlaws. As usual, local hero Ed Lynch's Lernerville Outlaws qualifying efforts are hampered by a flip. Brian Ellenberger was not happy with Jeff Shepard after they shared this racing deal. The posses Lance DeWeese and Fred Raymer lead on the Lernerville low dust surface, which was made completely dust-free by a rain shower. Several late race restarts, including a red for Donnie Schatz, allowed the field trackside adjustments and, of course, to close in. But Raymer, who took the lead on the 22nd of the 35 laps, is still the fastest. DeWeese held on to second for 30 laps before a bad restart dropped him to 4th behind Mark Kinzer and Danny Lazowski. Don't let it go to your head, Freddie.
Up until tonight, I just felt like a pretty good local racer, and I beat the Outlaws one night. That don't mean shit. We'll go down home and see what we can do. We'll do the best we can. Like I said, Al Hamilton just gives me the best stuff. I came in here, I won the last 4 races we ran, and I had a lot of confidence and about as relaxed as I've ever come in, because these guys can blow your mind.
May 21st, Williams Grove. Sammy Swindell will be fined $500 for a tirade after this crash on the start of the first heat. After the disappointing lack of dust at Lernerville, the powers that be made sure the Grove dust clouds were the biggest under the lights since 1986. Australian Brooke Tatnell was uninjured, but Billy Pouch shattered his kneecap in respective West End spills. And looking east, Dion Hindi in the exact same spot as 1 year ago. Brian Paulus also made the mistake of trying to go fast on the dry, slick surface. Kevin Gobrecht, Dale Blaney, and Lance Blevins tangled during the feature. While most every Outlaw feature we see is one as designed from the front row, the pole sitters frequently annoy many by passing each other. Here's the Wirtgen number 5, driven by Mark Kinzer from Oolitic, Indiana, caught in the act past Johnny Herrera, heading for the white flag.
What Johnny Herrera have to say to you? He was the first one to greet you in victory lane.
He actually come up with a big smile, and he said good race, you know, and thanks for leaving a little bit of room. You know, we kind of got together down the front stretch there, and I had no hard feelings against that, and he didn't either.
The second night format set up a perfect race. New Mexico's Johnny Herrera, driving the Casey's General Store 47, leads all 30 laps over fellow front row starter Mark Kinzer.
Johnny, what was going through your mind when the yellow flag came out with 3 laps to go and that number 5 on the scoreboard showing in second place?
Well, I had a replay of last night. You know, I kind of thought the same thing. I said, here we go, another restart. Fortunately, this time I had a couple lap cars in between me, and, you know, I could see him there the whole race. I just thought, let's just see if we can hold this together for 3 laps, and we did.
May 23rd, the Outlaw swing continues at Hagerstown, and Jeff Shepard launches at 100 miles per hour. This one could have been worse, and a couple of Potty John patrons in particular can be thankful. Stevie Smith dropped out while leading the feature. And here comes Donnie Kreitz.
I don't care what happened. We'll take it anywhere we can get it. I don't care if it's a preliminary night. I'm just so happy to win one of these races again. It's been a long time, and since we won one of these Outlaw shows, and I kind of was thinking we were never going to win one again.
May 24th. The second night format again comes through with a perfect race as Sammy Swindell leads all 30 laps from the pole in the channel lock number 1.
We knew the car was good. We really didn't change it from last night. We did about exactly the same thing we had last night. Just came out here, ran it again. The car was, you know, great. So, you know, it made a nice, easy night for us.
Back at the Grove. May 29th once again found the front row misbehaving by passing each other. Sammy Swindell, number 1, leads, but Stevie Smith wants a win in front of his home crowd.
Stevie, obviously you're not using a radio tonight.
Now, we don't have any radios yet. I'm hoping they do away with the things. It takes a lot of the racing out of the sport, so I'm just going to wait for a while, you know, see if they get rid of them or not. Meanwhile, we're just going to do the best we can.
May 30th, Lincoln, the outstanding performance of the swing. Keep your eye on Fred Raymer starting all the way back in 5th. Of course, Fred starts 12th here on a weekly basis, and maybe that's what makes the posse drivers so good. Watch the master of this shadowy racing art known as passing, advancing from 5th to 2nd in half a lap. Pole sitter Andy Hillenberg got the treatment several laps later. We wonder if Freddie's terrorizing passing exhibition is the reason Lincoln's been thrown off the Outlaw schedule for next year.
The only way I could be happier is my wife and kids were here, because, goddamn, I'd love to have a picture right here with them.
I tell you what, it's 7 in a row, but this one's special right here.
You don't know. I tell you, these guys are so damn good.
Good job, Fred. Nice job.
I tell you, I get out and, you know, you can't cruise here on a Saturday night. You've seen our guys ran good this whole swing. Pennsylvania don't have to, you know, hang their head this time through. We did them pretty good. We were off a couple nights, but we were on when we were on. And I'll tell you, you don't often get home field advantage, but I'll tell you, running here every week and definitely helps me out. And I'll tell you, if they come back probably 2-3 weeks, we'd probably be in for ass whooping, but they don't. I did, and the hell with them.
The second Sunday night show at Selinsgrove on May 24th took place before another encouraging crowd and offered us a new Super Sportsman winner. Bill Heckert led the entire feature until passing under the white flag when he bumped the rail and then stopped on the track. Matt Ondeck in his number 2 led just 1 lap, but it's the only one that counts.
Boy, you hung in there. You looked real strong, Matt, but kind of a surprise there with 1 lap to go.
Yeah, well, Bill Heckert was the man to beat tonight, and I'm sorry to see what happened up there. You know, he really had it won tonight.
You were pretty fast yourself.
Yeah, the car is working real good. I owe it all to Les Walters. He gave me all the belief in the world that I could do it, and we did it.
May 30th. 36-358 visit Silver Spring. Interesting conversation for the dinner table. Chad Layton spins in front of his father, James Layton. Super Sportsman ace George Ryden gives sprinters a try, rolling over in the start of the Concy. Bob Beitelman from Wanaport in the Gregory Steakhouse number 81, and boy do we like that place, is holding off some stiff challenges as provided by Mark Richard for his first win of the season.
What a race you had going on there with Mark Richard. Even a little bit of contact down here in turn number 4. Things were getting pretty wild.
Well, that's Mark. He's used to the super sprints, you know. I probably was in the only groove that was fast, and he took a dive underneath me, and I just didn't lift, you know. I mean, it's just one of them deals. One of us was going, and I had a little more advantage on him than he thought, and away we went. But that sort of woke me up. I didn't think he was that close. And that 5 to go, I sort of picked it up a little bit and worked the brake a little harder, and here we are.
The Super Sportsman, 56 cars strong, account for the bigger half of the 92 winged racers behind the drive-in on the Pike here at the Spring. Scott Grace performs a graceful end-up. John Stamen led until apparently getting crowded into the wall by second-place Frankie Herr, who was also sent to the rear. The Yellow Roads Performance Machines #2 of Stoystown's Carmen Perigo inherits the lead, but Bob Fantasy #1 is closing in. Perigo becomes the first repeat winner of the season in Super Sportsman competition.
What'd you think when Fantasy? You almost got underneath you down there in turn number 4 a couple of times.
Yeah, run her a little harder.
I tell you what, this Ford's really doing well.
Yeah, I think we finally got the chassis going good here. We were a little tight there a couple weeks in a row. I think we finally got that figured out. It was good tonight.
I'll tell you what, second in the points. This should really help things. Have you even thought about a track championship here at Silver Spring?
I've thought about it, but I try not to think about it too hard because it's too early yet, and then you just get down on yourself if you drop back.
First repeat winner of the season. This is a tough division, Carmen.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch tougher than anything I've ever raced before, but that's why I stick around down there.
Also on May 30th, Port Royal is the stage for the much-anticipated and long-overdue first sprint car win for Newtown's Len Thompson in the Richboro Lawn and Garden, #10. Bev and the gang were ready for the 22-year-old Penn State graduate. Selinsgrove, May 31st. There's Bev now, as the girls form a work crew to help with tonight's sudden rocky conditions. The 358s will offer us still another feature winner. Dale Hammaker, #66, takes first from the 5 of Rusty Presley on the 6th go-round. But a few laps later, Carlisle's Greg Libby in the Libby's Mobile Home Sales #77 goes by for his second Selinsgrove win in a row, despite nose wing problems. Calm down, Greg.
Yeah, we've been struggling a little bit. You know, we had some motor woes and we had some car woes, just getting the car set up and the motor tuned, and everything seems to be coming around right now. We've been close. We're just nipping it at the heel, but we're going to hopefully get a couple more victories this year.
Cars visits Thunder Valley on June 6th, and Dillsburg's Mark Yinger has his first career win.
Yeah, this is my 4th year with it, and oh man, this is sweet. I'm telling you. We came up here, we sat in a motel last night, wanted to race at Bedford, and we were all wound up and we're ready to go tonight, and we just, there in the heat race, we won the heat race with no brakes, and I thought, well, I kind of knew we could be a little bit faster, and we sure were. I mean, the guys did a great job on the car. I can't thank them enough for coming here, working for me for free, and working their butts off. They're the best.
June 8th, Selinsgrove warm-ups claim Bob Bennett's racer. Fortunately, there's a spare, but the Mickle trailer on which we're standing is going to be rocking. Fred Raymer intimidates Mike Erdley during a heat race, and Len Thompson's Port Royal paycheck is spent. We're in a rough neighborhood. The 461 of Lance DeWeese has just taken the lead from Jeff Rohrball, now the driver of the Tanger 07, on the 6th lap. Brooke Wabley will be scored as finishing 13th. The restart. Lance has to deal with the man, but a flat tire would relinquish Raymer to a 4th place finish. Lance brings it home for his 6th win of the year. June 13th, Shippensburg Speedway never made a dime through or wasted a dime on publicity efforts. Nonetheless, word of mouth brings out a crowd and close to 70 race cars, headlined by 34 micro sprints. B.J. Brem, a cutie with a heavy foot, was unhurt after being victimized into a hard spill. Shippensburg can be seen from Interstate 81 southbound, on the right, just past the first of the 2 Shippensburg exits at Route 174. Paul Fitzsimmons was shaken up. You really feel it when you crash the smaller racers. Veteran Jake Mays, number 54, holds off Micro's superstar Mike Dicely, number 44, in lap traffic. Here's Shaky Jake holding it together in victory lane. June 14th, A Sunday night rain date offers us a chance to catch 55 Modifies at Grandview. Craig Von Doren will fight his way back to the final qualifying spot after this spin. While even the Central PA sprint car officials seem to be in a hurry to score the first lap complete so they can restart the field single file, the Modifieds restart double file throughout qualifying and halfway into the feature. If they ain't side by side, we's all wasting time, seems to be the motto here. We'd put this show up against any we've seen all year. Chris Bredoff runs the high groove before doing some quick lumberjacking. Feature time. Terry Reimert, number 58, and Sam Shonley, number 21, battle for the lead. Even running non-stop on the Smalley's third mile, with the field so competitive and thoroughly points handicapped, it took the leaders 19 laps to catch the first fully functioning lapped car. But what a change it would bring. The first 7 cars were involved in the tangle. Glenn Strunk in the Chiropractic Healthworks number 33 advanced from 8th to 1st after slipping through the maze of sideways machines. Glenn went on to win, but only after exchanging the lead a couple of times with the dark-colored 14 of Kenny Gilmore. The Grandview NASCAR Modifieds are supported by another large field of 6-cylinder late models. Sitting in the pit stand beside the car owners, our soundtrack captures the very real emotions of the often harsh realities of racing. June 19th, the United Racing Club makes an all-too-rare Central Pennsylvania appearance at Williams Grove. Todd Wise will not qualify. Bernie LeMaster finds his way impeded by a backwards Chris Quill. Old pro Kramer Williamson in the Tasty Cake number 2 came all the way from 12th starting spot to finally take first from Kurt Michael, number 6, with 4 laps to go. Among those passed by the 47-year-old Palmyra native was Fred Raymer, who wound up second, with Michael third.
Still remember your way around this place?
Usually when we're not running, I'm over here every Friday night trying to learn something and working with everybody. And I kind of like the place, and I've done all right here. It's just I can't get no big motors here for here, you know.
38 teams do have big motors, as here comes the Grove Regulars. Bert Shoup crashes hard after having his front end collapse. In the feature, Kurt's brother Shawn Michael, number 88, who was the 1997 URC point champ, came from 9th starting spot to take the lead from Brian Paulus in just 4 laps. The fly-in fireman then had to hold off many late race challenges by Fred Raymer before posting his first Williams Grove feature win. Lincoln Speedway. We can't blame him, but Dale Hammaker should have kept his eyes on the track during 358 competition. Chad Layton has the knack of getting into the turn a little too hot, but pulling on out of it somehow. Suddenly, Bob Beitelman flips into turn 1. In the June 20th feature, the circuit's most improved driver, Doug Esch, started 8th before taking the long way around leader Perrin Reisner, number 53, for his 3rd recent win in limited sprint car competition. This second turn distraction had nothing to do with Randy Glover's 3rd turn problems, as the green dropped for 410 warm-ups. Johnny Mackeson's in trouble. Darren Ace, number 7, takes first from Danny Jones, number 8. Lap 7. As Darren leads, a battle for second wads up the first turn when Jones gets into Dave Ely. Note Fred Raymer just slipping through. The brothers Ace. Chris takes over soon after the restart. Here comes Raymer. 9 wins in a row may sound like it's getting old, but remember, he starts 12th every week. Of course, if we really understood where it's at in sprint car racing, we'd run time trials and start Fast Freddy on the pole. It would be more fair. Here's Aliquippa's Tim Schaefer, so close, so often, but still looking for that first win as a driver of the Stewart Apple number 12. There goes Tim now, taking the lead away from Sean Keane in the Maynard Yingst Memorial. It's June 26th.
Tim Schaefer takes the lead. Tim Schaefer's got the lead.
Jeff Shepard was a contender. The Battle of the Schaefers, lap 18. Driving the Gary and Patty Beamon number 88, in which Maynard Yingst achieved much of his success during the 80s, is Todd Schaefer. Tim falls victim to Mr. Excitement, who tonight is really on a mission.
I know you always want to win, but you didn't really want to win this one tonight, did you?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to win this one pretty bad. Gary and Patty got their start helping Maynard, and even after Maynard quit, they helped those guys. And Dave was there when I got my chance, and went there, and they went different directions, but everybody's remained friends through all the split-ups and everything, and it's good to win this one for them.
55 358 sprints joined the 28 410s. The Limiteds did their part at the Yingst Memorial with flips by Frankie Herr and Billy Dietrich. '19-year-old P.J. Chesson continues to show high potential. Here is beautiful green and silver number 76 leads at the start of the feature over the 27 of veteran Ron Kramer.
Chesson side by side down the backstretch.
The 9th lap, Chris Ace, who started 12th, has taken a 358 ride with slight controversy, going in for Tom Leach, who is nursing a knee injury. Chris drives the CW Fritz Company number 30 past PJ, but never really could shake the New Jersey youngster.
Chesson tries to come back on him. P.J. Chesson, Chris Ace going at it in turn 3. Chesson working hard on the inside, can't take the lead back.
You know, that 76 car, that young P.J. Chesson just wouldn't go away.
I want to tell you, that kid, for the amount of laps he's driven, he's doing a heck of a job. You know, he was definitely pressuring me, and you know, he was all I could take.
June 27th, 32 sprints packed Port Royal. After Steve Kennewell crashed while leading, Todd Schaefer continued his good weekend with this winning pass of Cliff Bryan, number 16. Todd's win was further secured by this shunt, which included Cliff and Lance DeWeese. It's Todd's 6th Port Royal win so far in the 98 season. June 28th, Grandview opens Pennsylvania Speedway. Bloomsburg's Alan Cole left his familiar black 17 at home and will pilot the Gallagher number 5 tonight. Alan slaps the wall in the colorful racer, but will be back to qualify in the Consi. Williamsport's Chuck Roan was the evening's only other flip victim. The time trial format for the 28 410 entrance started Lance DeWeese on the front row.
This time, Lance out, drags Cliffy into turn number 1. DeWeese sets the pace. Timmy Schaefer working.
It'll be another bridesmaid finish for Tim Schaefer, shown here getting a good bite on Dave Haight's front end. Lance will collect $5,000 after leading all 35 laps.
Harmony's checkered flag is out, and Lance DeWeese has won the Speed Week opener, Thunder on the Hill, here at the Grandview Speedway. Tom Leach blocking his path. Here comes Lehman through the middle. Leach down low.
The Cars Sprints 48 strong outdid themselves with a crash-free show featuring this final turn pass for the lead. It's Cars win number 2 this year for Mike Lehman over the number 30, with Tom Leach now back in the driver's seat. After a disappointing rainout at Big Diamond, Speed Week found the sprinters making their annual Silver Spring appearance 40 cars strong on Wednesday night, July 1st. During qualifying, Dave Courtier suffered a minor shoulder injury after sliding into Chuck Roan's rear bumper. Later on during a Consi restart, the number 10s of Len Thompson and Dave Haight brushed wheels. Len begins to slow with a flat left rear tire. As cars continue to scramble to miss Thompson, Dan Dietrich launches over Fred Raymer, landing on the number 10, giving Len a right rear flat to match. Although Raymer had to qualify via Consi, the time trial mutation allowed the 77 to start near the front, and Fast Freddy appeared to be leading with ease. But all of a sudden, here comes Jeff Shepard, number 4, to save the show for the race fans. On the 7th circuit, Jeff, using his patented high groove charges, made this clear track pass of the leader. With 26 of the 30 laps down, Raymer's number 77 returns the favor. It's Fast Freddy's 12th win in the 8-year history of Pennsylvania Speed Week.
5 laps to go. Schaefer's got to take the lead back.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Whitehead, Miss Motorsports 1998, and I'm here to welcome you to Port Royal Speedway for the 3rd night of Pennsylvania Speed Week.
41 sprints and a great crowd. Local divorce lawyers report their annual uptick in calls as Speed Week continues. Front row starters Fred Raymer and Donnie Kreitz, 69, argue over the first position. Donnie's got it. The only incident of the night was mid-pack when Cliff Bryan rolled after rear-ending Shawn Michael, who had just done likewise to Barry Kemp. Jeff Shepard set fast time despite coming out late and only being allowed 1 lap. However, a Speed Week rule states no one timing late can start better than 11th, so that's where Jeff started. Racing as if Miss Motorsports came along with the prize money, Jeff blasted through the pack to take the win late in the race from Kreitz. Here's Jeff $4,000 richer, and if you can stand it, another look at Kemp. Friday night, of course, is Williams Grove with the Mitch Smith Memorial. Broken steering leads to a sore shoulder for Shawn Michael. Outside pole sitter Donnie Kreitz, number 69, led the first lap, but pole sitter Todd Schaefer will lead all the rest for 10,000 big ones. Todd never really lost Kreitzy as we see the pair crossing the finish line. Saturday night, Speed Week time trial disease takes over Lincoln. 37 sprinters again fill the pits. Fred Raymer has won 10 straight features here from 12th starting spot. And tonight the fans will thrill to see him make it 11 from the front row. Perennial second place Tim Schaefer battles the 4 of Jeff Shepard. Jeff brushes the wall, but there is much worse in store for Tim, who rear-ends the lap car of Bill Bryan before flipping over and setting off this 7-car melee. Donnie Kreitz would finish second. Speed Week winds up July 5th at Susquehanna with 30 sprinters on hand. Sean Keane makes a great save after contact with Sean Weaver. Second row starter Donnie Kreitz slips under pole sitter Kevin Gobrecht, number 92, and lap traffic on the 14th lap for the $4,000 win. Here's Donnie holding a long one in victory lane. During the course of Speed Week, we catch some Super Sportsman action as they continue to add to their amazing winners list. 57 Super Sportsmen are at Silver Spring. Marysville's George Group in the Graham Motor number 63 takes over from Steve Cannon on the 15th of the 40-lap firecracker race. Later, Rich Eichelberger, number 8, supplied plenty of heat, but George will prevail for his second July 4th Classic win.
Well, those guys made you work for that one tonight, George.
Yeah, I really didn't want the restarts. I thought we were out and going pretty good, but I knew Ike was back there. He started giving me a little pressure, but he ran out of laps, and I'm just glad, because this has been a long time. I think 1992.
At Susquehanna, Eichelberger does take over the lead from the 21 of Myerstown's Dave Newman in a non-stop event.
Eichelberger takes the top spot into the corner. Terry Leininger on the move with a 1A down the straightaway. Then Bob.
But on the 14th lap, Dave takes the Newman Oil and Coal number 21 through lap traffic and back into the lead for his first win of the season.
Newman making a bid on the inside of Eichelberger as they work traffic into the corner. 3 wide, Ike on the high side. Loses the lead. Here we have a new leader. Car heading to the pits. Newman retakes the lead from Eichelberger. Here comes Rodebaugh.
You had the lead, you lost it to the number 8 car, Eichelberger, then you got him back in lap traffic. There's were a few thrilling moments there working through lap cars.
I didn't trust to try any harder. I thought if Rich was quicker, he could have it.
And speaking of exciting moments, July 10th, thanks to the Cars organization, sprint cars make their first ever appearance at the Winver Stadium. The show was a home run with the fans on the quarter-mile around a football field. 27 358 sprints attempted to qualify. Dave Gable in the Eiler Heindel number 7 started 7th and takes first from pole sitter rookie Brian Eichelberger on the 5th lap. With 10th place starter Kevin Drury, number 31, a close third, Brian does a donut, dropping several positions but not bringing out the caution. 1 lap later, Brian again spins, this time stacking up Rusty Presley and Chad Layton. Drury's in second now and maybe a little quicker, but Dave does a good job of making the number 7 wide for his first Cars win.
Of course, Windber Speedway being here, a little tight oval, but a lot of fun. How do you enjoy it?
I personally like it small, tight, and I like it rough. Those ruts that they graded off during intermission wouldn't have bothered me at all. This is a nice facility. I got to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the races tonight. I really like this. I really like the track. I've never been here before. It's the first time I saw it, so but I really enjoyed it.
Meanwhile, back east at Williams Grove, the Super Sportsman looks smooth and steady with 43 signed in. With 8 laps down, Dave Berkheimer, number 5, is taking the first position from Joe Runniker, number 19.
Through turn number 4. Berkheimer on the low side takes the lead.
Dave led until lap 16. Here comes Frankie Herr in the famous Highlands Tire Sales number 3. Frankie started 14th, and this will be his first win of the incredible Super Sportsman Series. The 18 events conducted on the tour have produced 17 different winners. The Sportsman could be called the restrictor plate racing of the sprint car circuits.
You guys race so close and rarely touch. There were some times in turn number 1, I don't know how both of you made it through.
Yeah, Dave was racing me real clean. I was trying to do the same for him, too. I wanted to be a good race for the two of us, and I want to thank the whole team and my car owner. I got a hell of a team here, and I want to thank them a lot. They've been sticking behind me. We've been really working hard, and I told Matt, the car owner's son, today, I said, you know, I like to get on a hot streak here, and I think we started it out tonight.
Jeff Rohrball makes a nose wing adjustment, but it's the top wing that dropped, causing this nasty spill in warm-ups.
Below side. He turns below side. Shepard to the top. Shepard racing Dave Hayden to turn number 3.
Feature lead change time. Jeff Shepard, number 4, passed Dave Hayden, the number 10.
We've got a new leader. It is Jeff Shepard.
Look at the close quarters off turn 4 as the high point drivers shuffle toward the front. The trademark of the tough field and handicapping here at the Grove. Lap 19. 9th place starter Lance DeWeese in the Walt Dyer Masonry 461 blasts past Shepard and talks to Bruce after his 37th career Williams Grove win.
Well, yeah, there was a couple close calls, but that's just normal racing here. Me and Jeff squeezing between that one hole was pretty tight, and early in the race, me and Fred racing pretty hard there. It was getting pretty tight, but hey, that's good hard racing. You can trust everybody we race against here. They ain't gonna give you nothing, but they're pretty good guys. They ain't gonna wreck you on purpose.
And it certainly wasn't on purpose, but the July 11th feature gets started with a wreck at Lincoln. Brooke Wibley, Shawn Michael, and Johnny Mackison all flipped without injury.
And the red flag is out.
Wibley took the wildest ride, isolated here on the close-up camera. Notice Fred Raymer banging the wall, but making it through. Chris Aish has taken the lead from brother Darren, but Fred Raymer, 77, makes it an even dozen wins in a row here in the Pigeon Hills. Joining the 27 410s are 38 358s. National Motocross Quad Champion, now sprint car driver P.J. Chesson. Here P.J.'s number 76 leads the feature, which includes challenges by Chris Aish, now racing a Leach number 30 backup car, who had started 11. Mark Richard introduces himself to Bob Hagan. P.J. and Chris continue their duel. Aish takes over the first position on lap 13. PJ continued an eventful evening, spinning 2 separate 360s and continuing before finally getting walled and flipping on the front stretch with 2 laps to go. With a second and a first tonight, does anybody have a Thunder Car ride for Chris? Clark Summit's George Suprick III has been impressing observers with race-winning potential recently. George and 23 other sprinters are at Selinsgrove on July 12th. Here, George's number 87 puts Joey Boritz back into second. Midway through the 25 laps, George is still leading, holding off the 77 of Fred On a 14th lap restart, during which Raymer pitted to change a tire, it's Lance DeWeese with superior acceleration, getting past Suprick. Suprick was still running second with 2 laps to go when his wing blew off, sending him for one of the hardest hits of the season. George suffered minor injuries and will be racing again in a couple of weeks. We believe wings have saved a dozen drivers' lives in the circuit since their inception during the late 60s, so we cannot speak against them. However, if the trend of lighter wings, which drop, fold, and completely fly off, continues, this safety advantage is eroding. Lance scores his second in a row here over Todd Schaefer, with Raymer's comeback drive good for third. July 17th. No matter how big and tough you are, never turn your back on these cars. Jimmy Burns, number 1, holds off James Chesson and Rich Eichelberger in a 3-car race for the lead. Just as Eichelberger makes this strong move, we have a yellow for a tangle in turn 1. After the restart, the race complexion changes as Ike faded and Jeremy Trout becomes the lone suitor. Jeremy, who is from Felton and drives the Jackson Well Drilling number 3, started 11th and finishes first, taking over just after the halfway point of the 20-lapper.
It's been a great year for you. You're doing well with URC this season.
Yeah, we can't complain. Besides, a couple weeks ago, we got tore up at East Windsor. We trashed a car, and that kind of put us in the back for... we had 2 cars, one URC run, one to run the 358, and it kind of made it easy. Because tonight we got to change a motor and go run Bridgeport tomorrow. But I'd like to thank my crew. We stayed up till about 2 o'clock last night putting this motor in. And I'd like to thank everyone for staying up that late night, and it was worth it, let me tell you.
With 27 entrants, the fastest 24 Grove regulars present another unpredictable feature event. First, an opening laps duel between Dave Haight, number 10, and Kevin Gobrecht, number 1, is settled in favor of the G-Man.
Racing for the lead off 4. Haight holds him off. Dave Haight sets the pace in the turn number 1. Gobrecht makes a pit to the low side, drives up in front of Dave Haight and takes the lead.
Having taken the first position on lap 6, Kevin led for 7 circuits before throwing it all away in lap traffic. The Tango also claimed second place runner Chris H. Kevin tries to pretend it never happened, but damage was heavy. Brett Raymer inherited the lead, but now he has to go to the rear. Lance DeWeese, who we can't remember crashing all year, just wants a few more wins on his season, like tonight. July 18th, they're getting desperate at Lincoln. Jesse Wentz after contact with Glendon Forsyth. On the 11th lap of the feature, Kevin Gobrecht in the Zemco number 1 slips past both Dan Dietrich and Chris H. into the lead. From a career low point last night, can the G-Man turn his season around? And where's Fast Freddy?
Some guy named Fred Raymer finished second.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for him to stick his nose underneath me there in lap traffic. You can't take nothing away from Fred. What was it, 13 in a row or 12 in a row? That's just incredible, and we only got 1, and, you know, the odds are really stacked up against him for him to keep going, and, you know, so finally caught up to him, but, you know, I can't say enough about Fred. He races you clean all the time, and, I mean, he's got to. He finished 12 races in a row and won every one of them, so, you know, he's a hell of a racer.
And over at Silver Spring, tonight's feature is probably not sponsored by aluminum manufacturers. With no wings to drop, fold, fall off, or crush running gear, for the second time in its 3-year history, the non-wing night feature goes non-stop. Carmen Perigo, number 2, who you just saw getting a bite off the wall in the start, is challenging pole sitter Leroy Martin in the 4 World number 66 for the lead. Once again for the wingless show, the time trial lineup did not include points, and it did not seem like Silver Spring with only 31 sportsmen participating in heats. Also, the surface was unusually dry as part of what Rex Roberts calls the vast wing conspiracy. But Rex is a kook.
How difficult is it to make an adjustment to drive these cars without the wings?
It's quite a bit of difference. I mean, we're used to driving in a little bit harder. You know, the wing helps you, and you got to just adjust your foot a little bit in this kind of racing.
What was going through your mind those last couple laps?
I got to just hang on here.
Hey, you did. Congratulations, Leroy.
Thanks.
Leroy Martin back in victory lane here at Silver Spring.
July 19th, Hurricane Mike Walters has just hit the biggest bump in central Pennsylvania track surface history at Sealands Grove. Mike walked away. The ramp was graded to its normal size, and things proceeded smoothly until a bouncing Mike Early got goosed by Sean Keane on the second lap of the feature.
Well, we got a car flipping upside down between turns 1 and 2. Joey Borich and Freddie Raymer in pursuit.
Joey Borich, number 88, moves past the black 12 of Keith Royer into the first position. Fred Raymer into second.
Dicing with Borich in turn number 3 and 4, and Fast Freddie is at the front.
Fast Freddie into first. It's Raymer's third win of the brief season here. July 22nd, Port Royal. Beautiful Juniata County scenery in Vaughn McGee's pre-race pits. But track time turned ugly for Vaughn's number 1 half during a qualifying heat for the previously rained out All-Star show. The port surface was perfect, but car counts a little low at 25. And now one of only 6 All-Stars on hand has just turned over while parading under caution. We won't embarrass him by mentioning his name. With 13 laps in, the three-way race for first is moving fast. Todd Schaefer makes the move from third, but Kevin Gobrecht winds up leading over Schaefer as the All-Stars' great white hope, Dean Jacobs, drops from first to third. The G-Man continued to lead until lap 22 when Mr. Excitement makes it stick for the $4,000 Beef Night win. The Susquehanna Speedway is in its second year of featuring RSCA modified competition on the half-mile red clay surface right here in the middle of sprint car country. Over 40 of the 358-powered carbureted open-wheel stock cars clash every Saturday night. July 25th, feature action. Ben Hack gives the lead up to the 26 of Mike Giannini. But look at this, as Giannini really has company. That's Jeff Strunk on the outside with David Stonebreaker and Keith Hoffman, number 4, on the inside. They're almost 4 wide for the lead with Strunk breaking away, making it 2 for 2 in our modified coverage so far this year. The win's worth $3 grand plus a moment with the RSCA Racerettes. July 25th is Cars' annual wingless show, and also the night we officially became a kook. Steve Petrick's first sprint car ride turns into a rodeo during warm-ups. Steve's okay and will run the same car in the Consi. Hillary blames the vast right-wing conspiracy, and we have the Central PA non-wing conspiracy, which has reached the RSCA. The sprints were switched to last in the 3-division show, which started 3 hours late. But the track was heavy, and the fans were about to witness real sprint car racing. There's only one way left. They could stop it. The lights really went out for Bob Beitelman, but he'll be okay. By the second time the lights were turned out on the Forbidden Fruit, we have some paranoid drivers, and the conspiracy had successfully killed the mood of the event. Real race cars do have real crashes. A photo later clearly showed Mike Hagabottom's car rusting on the grassy knoll. Bade Mader, whose tire launched Hagenbottom, made it one more lap during Consi qualifying desperation with 35 cars on hand. Without wings to drop, fall off, or grind running gear, the feature went non-stop. Rick Horn, 01 from Dover, is on his way to his second career Cars win, past Mike Enders with Scott Osham in 55, following in the rail-to-rail groove of winglessness. With the track still heavy, the racing was prime, but the conspiracy had been successful in making sure nobody saw it. You see, the feature started at 1:45. Winner Rick talks about holding off Scott.
Scott's a good guy. Scott and I are real good friends. He runs hard, but he runs clean, and he don't take race cars home busted up. That's all I can say about him.
How was this here tonight? I know this is like the only time of the year you guys run without this. Did you, what did you think of the action here tonight? A lot different, I guess, without that big wing on the top.
Yes, it was. I guess it sort of separated the men from the boys tonight.
July 29th. It's announced that the Don Martin Memorial may be televised in 1999. The question is, for the giant crowds who have supported the quickly run Outlaw shows on the moist, tacky Lernerville clay over the years, is that a promise or a threat? The only thing we don't like at Lernerville is the downhill ride in store for anyone unlucky enough to tumble over the backstretch. Fred Raymer may have rolled as many as 10 times on his way nearly to the bottom of the mountain. Fred's on his way to the hospital with extreme soreness. Sammy Swindell and Mark Kinzer off that Outlaw front row and in lap traffic. When Mark passed Sammy, it was the first pass for the lead in the Memorial since 1993. And Sammy's not too happy about it. For $31,000 to win, Mark threads the needle through time trial lineup lap traffic in order to stay as far as possible from the blue number 1. A post-race discussion between Amy Swindell and Carl Kinzer. A little controversy never hurts the crowd. Mark and his pretty wife Cindy, along with their son, in the Don Martin victory lane for the 3rd time in a row. July 31st. The posse won convincingly at the Outlaw game when Jeff Shepard and Kevin Gobrecht cut quick time trial laps and maintained position for the Williams Grove win. The only complication was on the final turn when Jeff's car ran low on fuel, allowing Gobrecht his first Outlaws victory. August 1st. The world's best race car drivers are back at Hagerstown, Maryland. As the 5 of Mark Kinzer leads from the pole, Johnny Herrera spins off turn 2, and we have a red flag. Herrera and Joe Gertie both tumbled in the crash, which also involved Steve Kinzer and Jeff Shepard. No annoying leaderboard change tonight as Mark Kinzer leads every lap for the $7,000 win. The Outlaw swing winds up at Middletown, New York, where Stevie Smith inherited the win when Sammy Swindell dropped out. After recent financial difficulties, the red-hot little bull ring near Spring Run known as Path Valley is rebounding. The Mighty Micros really fly here and are featured every Friday night along with the local stockers.
Down in turns 1 and 2. Out, here's a battle for the lead out of turn 4. Trouble! Jimmy Brookins getting upside down.
On July 21st, for the first time since 1994, full-size sprinters, super sportsmen actually, took to our personal favorite racetrack setup for a non-points event. A short field of 21 made the tow just 45 minutes west of Silver Spring. It is disappointing to see so many super sportsman drivers becoming point chasers. But let's not forget the racers who were there, including winner Danny Hager driving the number 11.
Understand you've been in victory lane before here with a super sportsman.
Yeah, I love this track. I wish we ran here more often. Car count's way down from what it is at Silver Springs. If they made it a point race, you'd see a lot more cars.
Lincoln, August 1st. Still sore from his Lernerville crash 4 nights ago, Fred Raymer will qualify via Concy after contact with Danny Jones and the wall. More qualifying contact. A feature setback for Chris Aish. A scramble at the other end victimizes Dan Dietrich into another one of his multitude of Lincoln tail stands. On the restart, hometown hero Dan Jones in the Creasy Signs number 8 takes the lead position away from Mike Lutz in the 07. A couple of laps later, we have some more side-by-side racing. Danny would prevail for his first career 410 win. Fred Raymer recovered from 2 incidents during the evening to finish second, with Lutz winding up third.
I tell you what, it's a long time coming. We were just, we were too tight in the heat. And we had a little incident with Fred. It was just a racing deal. He did the same thing in 1 and 2. I did it in 3 and 4, and he didn't lift, and I did.
What a race. Mike Lutz gave you some fits, too. He was trying to win his first Lincoln feature.
Yeah, he was giving her a heck of a try. When I went by him on that restart and held him off, and then I looked up the board and seen that he was still in second, I knew I'd still have a fight on my hands.
The 358 sprints always turn out in large numbers, especially at Williams Grove. Eric Pattison from Annville is a graduate of the Micros. Here, Eric flips his attractively painted number 66 on turn 2. Mike Enders is from Halifax and has 1 career feature win. Mike finds a spinning car in his way and rolls his red-colored number 116. It's August 7th. Tim Sealer, driving the KMC number 54, shows promise before a minor rollover in turn 4. There's so many 358s that the Grove would later conduct a non-qualifiers feature. Tim's problems tonight maintained his eligibility, and he would win the Invitational. We couldn't find a mug, but we had to include Rob Peters from Hummelstown as he becomes the second driver to clear the new West End 3-tier guardrail. There's a whole family of Laytons racing the 358s, and tonight their success will certainly vary. While Jim Layton Sr. unceremoniously rolls onto his side, Chad Layton from Harrisburg has the family-owned number 5 in the lead and holding off his strongest challenge from Bill Fantasy.
How's it feel? Excellent. Like nothing I've ever felt before.
This was truly a happy winner. It looked like you didn't want to climb out of that race car. You were enjoying being in there too much.
I never felt that good before.
Chad, how long have you been coming to the races at Williams Grove?
Well, I've been coming since I've been about 8 with my big brother, but I've been racing for a year. It's my first year. I just can't believe it came so quickly.
And the end comes quickly for several of the 410 sprinters. Brooke Wibley and Dave Haight turn over late in the pileup, but everybody is okay. Dan Dietrich also got on his head after tangling with Todd Schaefer. Fast Freddie Raymer, feeling much better, takes the lead from the number 2 of Tim Kuhn on just the 8th lap and dusting the field tonight at the Grove. August 8th, Steve Kennewell is a frequent Port Royal campaigner. Steve, who has a tendency to back her in, leads the heat race before backing her into the rail. Steve regrouped for a 13th place feature finish. Crowd favorite cowboy Jim Kennedy is back again. Jim's been around a while, but there's no truth to the rumor that his first ride was a chariot. Lance DeWeese halts Todd Schaefer's win streak. Todd did finish second.
You didn't hesitate one bit in that lap traffic.
Well, we got a car a little bit better than what it's been here. Yeah, Todd's been making us look bad here all year, and especially when it's been getting slick. We used to be the guy when it got slick that was tough to beat. Right now, when it gets slick, he's operating pretty good. We made a lot of changes there after the heat race, and it definitely was 100% better than what we've been up here in a long time.
The ARDC midgets never go faster on dirt than they do here at Port Royal. That's Donnie Trent doing a nose stand with no real damage. Likewise, Doug Borger will return to run the feature. No one was hurt in this hard Joey Chitwood-style T-bone crash on the backstretch. Tim Dietz, number 86, and Mark Freeland battled for the lead during the first half of the feature, but Dietz will wind up 14th. It's flying. Phil DeMario passed Freeland for his 3rd win of the ARDC season.
I like this Port Royal. I almost won a feature here about 5 years ago, and Louis Ciccone beat me out on the last lap, but this is a nice old racetrack. I like coming here.
Over the mountain, another traveling group, the United Racing Club, is putting on what we consider the race of the year at Lincoln. First, the 360 sprinters pile them up on the start. That's Rick Koenig doing the rollover honors. Midge Miller in the blue car takes first away from Todd Wise, letter X. A 3-car race for the lead. Kurt Michael in the Bostic Motorsports number 6 goes from 3rd to 1st past both Wise and Miller. A couple laps later, Miller's good run ends as he catches the cement cushion. Fred Raymer, who won again in the regular feature tonight, races occasionally with URC and seldom finds easy pickings. Here he does settle his 2nd position dispute with the number 2 of Kramer Williamson. The restart. The crowd awaits the fast Freddie slide job. It's the Ocean View Delaware driver's 2nd URC feature win of the year.
Billy Bryan winning an Outlaw show the last time I saw that many raised hands.
Definitely, when you beat the best driver on the East Coast, you got to be damn happy.
Let's talk about that restart. I thought you were both gone.
So did I. I just stood in it and stayed on it. I knew that's what he was going to do. There was a little room there. I just stayed on it.
Speaking of standing on it, Kutztown has completed its 2nd year featuring Berks County Racing Association micro sprints on the brand new quarter-mile clay oval located just beside the university. The small cars are a civilized version of There's a Riot Going On for the limited budget motorheads. Henry Schlegel sets a Kutztown altitude record in that one. Points handicapping here is so tough. Last week's winner is often this week's non-qualifier. On at least one occasion, micro sprint car count approached 90. The 10 features held produced 8 different faces in victory lane. Needless to say, we love the place. A fair race date is like Christmas in August to those of us who refuse to grow up. It's August the 11th. Mike Miller will have little time for the midway. The Sinking Spring resident made repairs following a heat spell, qualified in the country, and completed his winning charges from his 18th starting spot by passing Alan Crimes, the number 29, with 2 laps to go. Terry May is the first and only legend driver so far to get on his head at Kutztown. On the East End, we occasionally enjoy some barrel racing.
Cameraman Fred actually passed on the fair race to attend a little event out west called the Knoxville Nationals. Fred says this was his best Nationals in his 9 years. If you ever get a chance to go, do it. Billy Wilburn may have to change his own tire after Robert Jackson ran over it. Clipping and flipping in turn 2 is Manny Rockhold. Lee Nelson spins, then flips, as does Dale Blaney in the A scramble. It turned out to be a scramble as Gary Brazier takes hard hits from Kenny Jacobs and Steve Kinzer. Travis Cram flips as John Cernette adds a final shot on Friday. No driver injuries either day. Saturday action finds Manny Rockhold again in trouble, as are John Cernette, Lee Nelson, and a piling in Larry Pinegar. Dean Jacobs with broken parts. Central PA's chances for the win disappeared when 5th starting Jeff Shepard missed the setup, and Fred Raymer bounced off the first turn wall on the first lap. A high-low battle all race found Sammy Swindell slipping on the last lap as Danny Lazowski powers by on the inside for the most popular $100,000 win. The dude finally did it. August 23rd, 26 sprints are at Selinsgrove. Billy Sims is back in action, running second to Troy Kemp during a heat race. How quickly things change in sprint car racing. You can't even trust Fast Freddy. Billy will be out of action for some time again. Sims' flip was the first of 3 hard rail crashes. Midget campaigners Mosteller have been dabbling in Selinsgrove sprint cars. Dwayne Mosteller meets both Rails and Jim Campbell. Kevin Gobrecht is also uninjured. It was on the 6th-lap restart following Gobrecht's crash that Todd Schaefer passed both number 10s, as driven by Len Thompson and Dave Haight. Todd sped away to his 2nd win in a row at Selinsgrove and his 3rd of the season. With more courage than the Republican Congress and more character than a dozen Clinton White Houses, Miss Chelsea Miller. The August 25th Grandview finale is all-star sanctioned. Sean Keane is out of here during warm-ups, but there's no real damage. When Billy Wilburn's not changing tires for Rusty Wallace's taxi cab, he's driving a real race car. Lap 6 of the feature, Lance DeWeese's crashless season comes to an end. Cliff Bryan and Lance are both okay, but the pieces really flew in this one. Despite his crash, Lance DeWeese was the Thunder on the Hill Series point champ. Lap 6 of the feature again. Todd Schaefer noses into the cushion and Johnny Mackison hits just right to make it another double. Still on lap 6, Jeff Shepard has been leading, but there's a duel for second between Dave Ely, 77, and Greg Hodnett, number 12. Dave suffered a broken collarbone. To make matters worse, Greg loses his cool. If this is the career low spot for the ex-Outlaw Memphis, Tennessee driver, things will soon change for the better. With lap 6, or 666, finally out of the way, leader Shepard has a flat tire. It's King Billy's first sprint car win since his knee injury a couple of months ago at Williams Grove. While the 410s crashed and couldn't much pass, the car's 358s ran their special feature non-stop with 4 different leaders. Rusty Presley, number 5, gives up first spot to Kevin Drury, 31. But here comes Dave Gable, 7, followed by Dale Hammaker, 88. On lap 15, point leader Dale Hammaker from Grantville slips under Dave for his first win of the season. All 3 cars' features at Grandview this year have gone non-stop.
Any close calls out there that you kind of held your breath and did a little skip and jump? every lap. This is a neat little place. We ran Modifies here, never really did nothing, but we got her tonight.
August 29th. Dave Leachy has another in a series of problems with the Port Royal guardrails. Vaughn McGee, looking for his first win, leads the field down the back, but watch his wing. Vaughn stopped the car blind on the front stretch, and somehow there was no disaster. With DeWeese racing elsewhere, the question is, can anyone hold off Todd Schaefer? Sean Keane seemed to be doing just that until the 10th lap when his outhouse took a dump. Todd's wing stayed up, and he records his 17th win of the season without even having to make a lead pass. Ron Kramer is among a splendid 39-car cars field, saving the show at the port tonight. We certainly enjoyed the smaller wing 358 racing better than the 410 wing drop eliminations. Here, Ron's number 11 doesn't appear to be handling quite right. I guess we were right. Another crash on the 5th lap of the feature thinned out an incredible 12-car battle for the lead. Second place Brian Eichelberger crossed up, and Rick Kaler flips. Rick is okay, but Brian stopped his car further around the track with a badly broken arm. Dan Richcreek, number 80, leads Tim Hershey. The 50 of Mark Richards squeezes past Hershey into second. Richard challenges Richcreek, and here comes the 59 of Mike Lehman. We have a caution. It's Mike Lehman's third straight Port Royal cars win. Richard finished second over Doug Esch, Hershey, and Richcreek. Johnny Mackison pulls the helmet on tight before Sealands Grove All-Star action on August 30th. Johnny's crash landing is a safe one after contact with Billy Pouch. We told you things would change for Greg Hodnett as he leads every lap of the Time Trial Classic in the Apple Chevrolet number 12. There's never any confusion at Williams Grove with the girls on the job. Todd Schaefer may have been momentarily confused after his third hard flip of the season and his second out of the ballpark at the Grove. On September 4th, Todd Hester, driving the Middleswarth potato chip car, nearly pulled off a monumental upset. Our beloved points handicapping started Todd up front, and the Beavertown resident drove the race of his life, holding the lead through several cautions until the final turn, when Chris Ace took advantage of Todd's slight slip. It's Chris's third Grove win of the season and 14th career. While the limited sprints sometimes now produce larger fields than the Super Sportsman, the Sportsmen are still the most competitive division of all. Terry Leininger, number 1, is slowly working the lead from Steve Cannon, 23, and Tim White.
Cannon and White hanging on. Leininger through the middle to the cushion, racing for the lead. Side by side at the finish line, Leininger leads it.
As Terry leads later in the race, he is getting new company. The track seems a little too narrow for Terry as Ken Carberry, number 47, and Mark Smith in the Taylor Rental number 22 close in.
Leininger won't give up the lead. Mark Smith right there. Terry goes to the top. Leininger takes the lead back. Mark Smith drives into second.
It's Mark Smith appearing to hit the steroid button past both Carberry and Leininger.
Here comes Mark Smith on the outside now. Leininger stays down low. Leininger holds on.
Smith started 14th and finishes first, and that's racing we can brag about. It's his third Napa Sportsman win of the season.
We've been running for 3 years now, and I just love this place. I grew up here when I was a little kid, and maybe someday I'll be out here running with these guys in the 410s, and I just like to thank all the fans that come out and support our sport, and and I like to thank my crew and all the sponsors. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Lincoln. The night is over early for Eric Mathiet. On the restart, Shawn Michael finds the same cushion. James Chesson makes a rare mistake. Tim Kuhn is also in trouble as the cement wall really gets the job done for photographers. Josh Wells had to be different, flipping in turn 3. Second-year sprint car driver Nicky Young leads the September 5th Bobby Abel Memorial over Darren Ace, number 7. Seconds later, contact between the leaders, and Nicky will have to wait for his first win. That's Dan Dietrich also rolling over in the 4th lap pileup. Darren led just a couple more laps until he tangled in spinning lap traffic. The blue car of Glendon Forsyth looks strong, leading until a 20th lap restart. That's Todd Gracie driving the 07, assuming the lead in what probably would not have been a most popular victory. But coming around for the white flag, Chris Ace, who between the Limiteds and 410s is having a great season, completes his winning charge from the rear of the pack, having been involved in that 4th lap tangle. September 7th is the 48th edition of the Labor Day Classic at Port Royal. A rain delay gives us some extra time to sample or at least check out a variety of delicious things at the Juniata County Fair. Chris Ace loses power and Kevin Gobrecht fails the brake check. The relocation of the pits this year out of the infield allows the fans a clear view of the racing. Brian Paulus, number 28, takes the lead from Cliffy Bryan and would then set a torrid high groove pace. But a late race restart and a set of burned-off tires slowed Paulus. Donnie Kreitz is right there for his 4th victory in the Classic. September 12th lands us right back at Port Royal for the Tuscarora 50. Greg Hodnett continues to impress, sweeping both nights of the All-Star Weekend in the Apple number 12. Here's Greg's winning move past Lance DeWeese during the 50 itself. We could learn to like this guy.
You know, all these guys here, they do a great job. I'll tell you what, the competition up here is unbelievable. Them Outlaw guys want to learn how to race. They come back here, and I'll tell you what, they got a rude awakening when they come back here, start 12th every night. I tell you what, it's just tough, and these guys, they deserve every penny they get because they work their ass off.
And speaking of learning how to race, over the hill at Lincoln, ARDC has ditched the wings. Don't worry about Fred Schell. He'll drive the same car to a 4th place finish in the feature. Dave Ertel was leading the feature. Mark Freeland in the blue number 4 and Walt Steerley both look for the lead on the wide racing surface.
And Freeland, wheel to wheel for the lead down the backstretch. Wheel to wheel for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
It'll be Steerley's 2nd ARDC feature win of the season.
I really like coming to Lincoln. It's a pretty close track for us. We feel good here. We ran here with the mini sprints and hope to be back a couple times or maybe even 4 or 5 times next year.
Let's catch up with some Lincoln 358 adventures. Steve Petrick has some past modified experience, but his second ride in a sprinter is very similar to his first we saw a couple of weeks ago at Susquehanna. Light damage for Bob Hagan. Heavy damage for Bob Hagan.
Problems for Hagan. He's going to roll it over on the 4th turn.
Rick Kaler turns left.
Green is out, and we got
Billy Dietrich is going to be a good one.
on the start. By Haynes. Now he gets by into 2nd. Cars together up on turn 4. Everybody straightens it out, but
Babe Mater gets crashed into a spill. Babe Mater crashes himself into a spill. We have quite a stack up in turn 3, and Perrin Reisner can't find a hole. September 12th, Doug Ash leads every lap from the pole in the rare limited sprint time trial parade during the season-ending championship. September 19th, Greg Hodnett is leading the Selinsgrove National Open. Back in the pack, things get expensive as Sean Keane catches the inside rail. Everyone is okay.
Oh, trouble in turn number 1. Red flag is out. A multi-car pile up. Several cars going over in turn number 1.
Hodnett, who had started on the pole, escapes this close call with a lap car leading every one of the 35-lap time trial parade. It looks like the Apple team has found its driver. September 25th, Mark Smith is among the 48 358 sprints pit side for the 25-lap season finale at Williams Grove. Jeremy Garner saves it, sort of. The cushion insists on claiming Dan Massey. The season championship here was not a time trial show. Mike Miller, driving the full-size sprint race of his life in the second Henderson number 59, led 14 laps. But here comes point champ Mike Lehman. How could you do that to your buddy there, Mike? Lap 20, here comes Chris Aish.
Looking for the lead off two, and he's got it. Chris Aish has taken the lead.
Mike does not roll over. Here they come past the white flag. Take it, Bruce.
Now Lehman to the low side. Chris up top. Mike Lehman makes the pass. Chris goes after him on the backstretch. Side by side they go to 3 and 4. Chris Aish will win it. Lehman gets second.
September 27th, the rain-delayed Jack Gunn Memorial at Selinsgrove. Greg Hodnett's hot streak hits a snag on the start of the first heat. Billy Pouch, number 1, led for many laps after starting on the front row, but Fred Raymer, 77, runs him down using the low group for his 4th win here this year. Let's head west across the country for our Thrills and Spills segment from some of America's favorite racetracks. Micros mix it up at Western Pennsylvania's Mercer Speedway. This footage comes courtesy of the human disaster, sometimes known as Todd Oakletree. The Tommy Hines Wingless Challenge hit a snag in '98, but the series previously offered the fans over 40 wingless sprinters in a non-time trial format. Don't miss its return in 1999, right, Tommy? Todd heads a couple of miles farther west to the historic Sharon Speedway. Van Gurley flips after his wing drops. Tim Kuhn's budget takes another beating.
Jimmy Kuhn runs into Dean Jacobs, slams the outside wall. Red flag waving for the 2.
Craig Rankin tumbles in a turn 2 pileup.
Ed Lynch bicycles. Oh my goodness.
And there goes Brian Gobrecht.
Brian Gobrecht dumping the Hartlob 7.
Deeper into Ohio is the highly praised Attica Speedway. Bobby Adamson over the edge. James Fisher time trials. Tyler Walker is learning fast. One of the locals hangs it in the fencing. As will Fred Bozo. No clown jokes, please. Van Gurley again, this time with Jimmy Stenson. Attica is tough. There goes Todd Kane. Tim Schaefer clips a truck tire. We end our Attica visit as Butch Schroeder gives the fence another beating. A double flip on the world's fastest half mile of dirt, Eldora. A little farther west, we find the tight Limaland Speedway as Chad Kennewick topples in time trials. A hard flip down Lima's front stretch. Randy Kinzer takes a detour at the KC Speedway near Chillicothe. Paul McMahon takes a similar detour with worse results. Matt Snell and Gus Watson can't believe it either. It was at Lawrenceburg, Indiana that Todd had this close encounter with Terry McCarl. Jeremy Mitten runs into trouble at Brownstown, Indiana.
Upside down at turn number 3. A car upside down at turn number 3.
Show Me State TQs tango at Macon, Illinois. Ron Holiday off to a bad start. Danny Smith every which way on the front at Farmer City, Illinois. Number 7 flips at the Butler Battlegrounds in Michigan. Jerry Hart at I-96 Speedway in Michigan. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Local limiteds mix it up. Mike Lambert flips in All-Star competition. State Fair Speedway near Oklahoma City. Aaron Lemons is out of here. More local limiteds. Tim Kuhn has the sympathies of Kevin Eckert. Down south now at Delaware International, and an unidentified URC racer lands in the infamous 3rd and 4th turn ditch. Sprint cars in Georgia at the Dixie Speedway. Danny Smith makes it all the way over. Brian Thompson territory overlaps Todd's a little this year. The Tulsa Expo offers the world's best indoor racing with the STP Shootout and, of course, the Chili Bowl. Brian focused mostly on non-wing racers in 1998. Ken Christian gets over a wheel and on his head at the RCA Dome. Just up the road from the Speedway is Tony George's other track, West 16th. Mike Roselli finds the track a little slick. The USAC midgets really put on a show. Mike Bymaster gets over Dean Franklin. David Bridges drives through Michael Lang, causing both to flip. Jimmy McCune, number 2, flips after getting over Travis Wellpott, while Rick Shelton slowly gets upside down. Now Ricky Shelton rides out a tough one. Michael Lewis gets into the wall. It's a triple as Johnny Parsons, Bill Bow, and Andy Pierce all get upside down during a heat race. Tracy Hines goes over 6.5 times. Astute racing observer Mike Horker says he can die happy now after Brian lent him a camera to record his first flip. It's Barry Walkup at Macon, Illinois. Johnny Crawford also gets too good of a bite at Macon. Midget action continues at Kokomo, Indiana. Dustin Smith climbs over Jim Mills and takes a ride. Adam Clark catches the cushion. USAC dirt cars on the Indy Mile. Brian Tyler was on the gas until the wall interferes. The USAC sprint cars. John Callahan finds the track a little rough at Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Todd Hepfner gets into turn 3 a little too hard, and here's the result. Tracy Hines flips after climbing Justin Marvel at Bloomington. Brad Fox sticks a wheel into Rick Hayden, sending Hayden up and over at Lincoln Park, Indiana. Josh Pelkey ends his night at Twin Cities after flipping and breaking the frame during time trials. Come on, Brian, let's get in a little closer. Greg Wilson during qualifying back at Kokomo. Derek Davidson follows suit minutes later. Mike Mann broke a wheel. Jack Hewitt gets crossed up in front of team car Brian Hayden, resulting in this spectacular. Terre Haute, Indiana. Midget ace Ricky Shelton's first ride in a sprint car. But the freelance independent photographers of Speedways, that's flips for short, Outstanding Achievement Award goes to Brian for this footage of Al Wood heading for the parking lot. Manzanita's ace videographer Mark Meeks handed the camera to his girlfriend who caught Steve Osling's crash. Keep her, Mark. Jay Drake flips as the SCRA hits its highest speeds here in Arizona. Ed Patterson had nowhere to go. Manzi has a big wide half mile, but Nathan High also has nowhere to go. Fred Bryan is gassing it in his sleep. He'll be A-OK. A close-up on the quarter mile ends our nationwide spill segment for this year. October 2nd, the Outlaws are at Williams Grove. Tyler Walker gooses Paul McMahon into a slow rollover. Sammy Swindell meets an old friend, and Donnie Schatz falls over the rail. Joe Gertie is also involved. Kevin Gobrecht was headed for his second Outlaw win, leading from the pole, until his wing blew off. This constituted a sort of lead change, but Kevin's fellow front row starter Mark Kinzer did lead the rest of the way. Our last look at Lincoln begins with more problems for Nicky Young. Jeff Rohrball hits hard. Greg Hodnett tangles with Donnie Kreitz during an action-packed Kenny Weld Memorial season finale on October the 10th. That's Dave Haight flying and Jesse Wentz in the fence. Kevin Gobrecht, number 1, started on the front row. Kevin led for 34 laps until Jeff Shepard made a race of it. Shepard's lead was short-lived as he bobbles on the 4th turn, leaving the G-man back in front to stay. Gobrecht's winnings exceeded $7,000 tonight. Meanwhile, over at Silver Spring, the season is wrapping up as well. Steve Cannon is a rollover victim. Big trouble on the start of the Sportsman feature as Chuck Landis and Steve Wilbur both flipped. Steve Cannon's brother, Pat, also rolled over in the crash. Leroy Martin of Denver is the third and final leader, passing the red car of Bobby Howard, who had taken first from Bill Hecker. The next day, the Super Sportsmen wrap up their season at Hagerstown. More problems for the Cannons, as Pat, driving Steve's car, gets shown the rail. Bob Fantasy slides into Pat, and we have a red flag. A heads-up start from Heats found New Cumberland's Jerry Stralzer, number 25, leading all the way, holding off some challenges by the 55 of Tom Haxall.
It's got to be the once-in-a-lifetime thrill to be standing here with your first ever victory.
Yes, yeah. I don't know what to say. The guys did a good job. I had the car working good all day for me, and all I had to do was drive it.
Another of the smaller tracks which form the backbone of the circuit is the Linda's Speedway, just off the Route 8178 split near Jonestown. Out of thousands of race fans, only a small percentage will ever prevail to actually climb behind the steering wheel of a racing car. This line is most often crossed at the pit gate of tracks like here at Linda's, and there will always be room for what is so often the future of racing in any Lynn Schaefer production. During the Linda's National Open on October 16th and 17th, Mike Miller suffered a serious foot injury after an exceptionally hard hit into the front stretch rail. Mike Dicely, number 44 from Lewisberry, works the outside of leader Randy West in the winning pass on his way to over $2,000 in prize money. Mike has bested a field of 83 micro sprints. October 17th, Williams Grove's inaugural Central Penn Classic includes a rare situation in which 4 cars were left upside down on the racing surface at the same time. Sean Keane and Mike Wagner both flip in this strange crash on turn 4. As the red flag flies, Chris Knopp and Len Thompson tangle in turn 1. The emergency crews have a busy moment, but everyone is okay. The groove is not quite wide enough for Todd Schaefer and Danny Jones. Donnie Kreitz, 69, picked the pole. His 40th career Williams Grove win is worth $8,000. This year's extended racing season included Port Royal, who marqueed cars. Kevin Drury's point championship hopes will come to a violent end. The racing was among the best we saw all year, but the crowd was sparse. It troubles us that race fans are so much more supportive of named drivers than good shows. Peanut Miller picked up his first win this season. Mark Yinger escaped injury in this bad one after contact with Steve Petrick. Dan Richcreek was lucky to only be tagged after dropping fluid and crashing in front of the field. A nice catch by the Babe. More problems for Mark Yinger. October 24th, after wins by Mark Richard and Mike Lehman, the 3-race series concluded with the Cars Nationals. With over 40 sprinters on hand on a sunny day, the surface was, well, let's say, moisturely challenged. Rusty Presley gives us a taste. Mike Lehman, number 59, takes the lead from the 56 as driven today by Jeremy Trout. Darren Ace is driving one of the Leach number 30s today, and he runs just like brother Chris. As Darren challenges leader Lehman down the back chute, farther back in the pack, we have trouble. Rich Eichelberger is victimized into a beating. Rich gets hit twice, then turns over. Perhaps getting hit a third time while upside down straightened Rich's head back out because he walked away unfazed. A couple laps after the restart, a rare miscue by leader Mike Lehman is the break Darren's been waiting for. The win's worth over $2,500 for the happy driver.
When's the last time you picked up a sprint car win?
It's been so long that it felt like the Knoxville Nationals right there. I mean, it was just made me happy. Butch had the car, right? At the end of the race, I just bided my time. I just riding. I didn't think there was anybody close, but they said that the 59 car was catching me. But, you know, I want to say thanks to Butch and the crew and Dick and Tom, just everybody for giving me the opportunity to come out here and have some fun like this. I mean, that's the most fun I had racing in a good while, I can tell you that.
Also on October 24th, when Williams Grove rescheduled its rained-out National Open Sons Outlaw sanction, it turned into what was, we can only figure, an artistic disaster. We did the best we could with a one-night format to have the race run before it started. Time trials, heads up from the dash, etc. But here's Billy Pouch, number 1, committing near blasphemy by passing 2 cars from his 3rd starting spot during green flag conditions in the feature. The fans haven't had to endure such an aggravation in over 120 laps of National Open here since 1994. Pouchy passed both Chris H. and then the 88, as driven by Keith Kaufman tonight, and was rewarded for his rudeness with more than $12,000. And we'll leave you again this year with our stock car segment. The Super Sportsman champ was Howie Locke. Williams Grove 358's Mike Lehman. Selinsgrove and Port Royal, Todd Schaefer. Lincoln and Williams Grove, Fred Raymer. The Lincoln 358 points chase went to Greg Libby. Our cars champ was Dale Hammaker. Drivers who scored at least 1 win and were not noted such during the tape include in the Super Sportsman, Smokey Snellbaker, Russ Mitten, Bob Fantasy, John Stoner, Rich Eichelberger, Paul Troutman, Jake Rodabaugh, and Mark Zimmerman. And in cars, Gary Gullo. Congratulations to everyone for another very safe year on the tracks. But we must say goodbye to Super Sportsman ace John Yinger, who died in a work accident. Also goodbye to Ed Stauffer, one of America's best sprint car mechanics. Lynn Schaefer Productions' official videographers are Jeff Hall, who is celebrating 10 years, and Professor Fred Plunk. It's a real privilege to work with Sports Plus Video. For the best in full race coverage, contact Steve Gigius at 301-223-7318. Additional camera help from Right Wing Talk Show host Jim Murdoch, who is also New Egypt's official video. Barry Boyd of Kutztown, Linda's, ARDC, and Class Car fame. Port Royal's Rusty Clark, and the All-Stars Jeff Christensen. The Kutztown segment was narrated by the voice of the micro, Steve Book. The blame for the script goes entirely to Lynn Schaefer, who would also like to thank his racing friends for helping him through a rough summer. Thank you to all the track personnel for again letting us get away with it all. Thank you to all the track announcers who never turned down our request to be mic'd for racing or interviews.
And for all you old-timers out there, we've just released tape D2, Super Sprinters The Good Old Days, 1963 through 1983. Ta-ta.